It's okay. It's 10:36. I was going to say the crowd just drastically picked up, and the 10 o'clock is official open of the show today. 8 to 10 is the VIP. So we got a crowd here now.
It is a good crowd. It's packed.
Yeah, it is packed. Awesome. Well, here's another episode of the Ice Team Podcast. We're coming at you from the St. Paul Ice Fishing and Winter Sports Show. There's easily a couple thousand people here at this point. It is during the show.
Yep.
So if you hear some ambient noise and people goofing off and laughing and giggling, it's the crowd. We got people here. We're not in some conference room hiding out on you. We are on the stage floor.
If the camera, cuts in and out, it's because someone kicked it.
Yeah.
And it got knocked over. So
well, Hunter Lanky, one of our dear friends, is our bouncer. He's right here. He's guarding the tripod. So if anyone wants to mess with the tripod at the show, you got to mess with Hunter Lanky.
Yep. I wouldn't want to mess with that guy.
I would not mess with him. 18 going on 60. So we love you. So we got two awesome guests. Our listeners obviously know who Drew and I are. We've done this a bunch. We got two awesome guests. I'm really excited to have you guys on this. I think I asked you a couple months ago, Jason. So we got Jason and Fischer Smith, father and son team. It's been a delight to get to know you guys. We're going to drill you. No secret is left safe. No, every rock's going to get... And I love the family ones because we did Scott Brower and his daughter.
Yep.
And we got some dirt. We got some dirt on Dad, and we got some dirt on the kids, so we might ask some pretty fun questions here and see what's going on. But Jason and Fischer Smith have been on our pro staff for a couple of years here, through clam.
I've been about 8 years.
Through blackfish.
Yeah.
Through everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys kind of cover everything we do. Hardcore anglers, musky heads, ice anglers, they do it all.
Athletes.
Yep. Absolutely. So without further ado, Jason Fischer, maybe start off. Our listeners love to hear the background of our guests. Kind of what got you going in fishing, what makes you tick from a young age. I don't know if we want to let our young stud here kick us off.
Well, I guess my favorite thing about fishing is the bend in the rod.
Yeah.
I think everybody can agree with that. The bend in the rod is the best thing, and lipping that bass or holding that big musky and just the accomplishment of catching a fish is just probably the thing that ticks
Fisher,
me.
Is there a moment in your past that you were I remember that moment is where I fell in love with fishing? Do you have any of those moments? I remember I have a few from my youth.
Probably chasing crappies and basing crappies. Schools.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. Basing crappies are
so
awesome.
fun.
They're
I
awesome.
tell you, I got 1.5-year-old videos of him carrying fish out of my pail in the kitchen going, ish, 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 ish. He's got a crappie in his hand. He's just loving it from 1.5 years old.
Not to interrupt, I remember mine was on the cabin lake, and my grandpa would bring me up there because we didn't have the cabin there. Our neighbors had the cabin, and he'd bring me up, and they'd sit and have picnics, drink wine on the shore, and I'd go in their paddle boat all day by myself. And they're like, I think Drew likes fishing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love it,
Drew likes fishing. I'm telling you right now, he does.
Yeah.
I know for a fact.
I'm envious that, you still have some of those stories and have it on tape and stuff, because I'd love to see myself on that paddle boat, getting in the white caps and stuff, catching little bluegills.
Just getting throttled by the waves.
He's
fine.
Just
further away. He'll be fine.
In my day, I was the one that stood on the end of the dock. The mom and dad could never get me off the dock. I had to catch every bluegill off every corner of the dock.
Yeah, you had them named. Catch them 2-3 times.
And 8 hours, and mom's like, "Come in, we're gonna have hot dogs."
Yeah.
You're like, they can wait. I got bluegills to catch.
I think you can tell which kids love fishing. Just give them a dock, a Barbie or Snoopy pole, and 8 hours, and see how long they last.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. You don't even probably need a rod. So we're driving here on one of our setup days, and Clayton Kettering's in the truck with us. You guys all know Clay Dog.
Yeah.
And he said that he went, this is recently, and he's my 84-year-old guy. Recently, he was driving someplace, and the ice had formed on a certain lake, and he's like, man, I don't even have a rod in my truck. So he said he went and picked a willow branch and proceeded to catch a limit of crappies with willow branch and some leftover line he found in the truck and a jig. And he's like, I used to use a willow branch the whole day. I'm like,
That's dedication
not
right
surprised.
Yeah, clam
Not
pro staff.
surprised.
Done everything you can in ice fishing. You're just using a willow branch.
Catch 'em. Whatever. So you two love to fish. You've been doing it for a long time. Obviously, we're going to talk a bunch of ice fishing. I think we should take a step back and steer away from ice fishing for a few minutes. So what people probably do or don't know, some people probably don't know this, you guys are some of the most hardcore father-son musky duo I know of. I mean, you guys are musky studs. Jason, you've been musky fishing for a long time, accomplished musky guide, won tournaments, done a number of things, been published. So what's it about muskies? And I kind of know the answer, but what's it about muskies that has you guys so incredibly hooked on that just incredible species?
I guess it's just like the drive of, you could say the 10,000 casts it takes to catch them. And then when you finally get like a really big one in your hands and you're just like, wow, it took me that long to catch this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put it back and I'm going to spend the same amount of time trying to catch another one.
And you just try to replicate the pattern, and pretty soon you got a 4-fish day.
Yeah.
But you can never figure them out completely.
They keep you on your toes. Like, I mean, how long have you been musky fishing, Jason?
88 probably.
I mean, does it get any easier to catch a ton of fish, or is it still always a challenge? I mean, like,
it still is. Yeah. I mean, our late fall this year, we struggled.
Yeah.
The last 3
sucked.
weeks we struggled. I don't know if it's the wind, the temperatures are going up and down, and we had a goal. Fisher's had every fish he's ever caught registered in Muskie's Inc. from 30 inches and better. He's at 197. He tried to get 200.
He's got 100. How old are you?
Almost 15. It'll be a week.
Wait, time out. Did you say you have 100 or 200?
Almost 200.
Oh my God. I've never even caught one on purpose. I've never tried that hard, but like I still have never caught. I've tried at least 2 days of full muskie fishing, never caught one. Here you are.
197 muskies.
So
Almost 15.
Yep.
Almost 15. I mean, what have you been doing? You slacking or what? Oh, you got 200 of them.
I've got 3, but they've all been by accident bass fishing.
yeah.
Makes sense.
They are challenging. I mean, working at Thorn Brothers, I mean, talking to veteran muskie anglers like yourself, they gave me the same response. Like, I don't think it doesn't get any easier.
No.
I don't care what technology comes out. I mean, the forward-facing sonar, people talk about it and what it's done. You still have to present a bait in front of a fish's face and get at that fish to feel at that right moment that it wants to eat that bait.
I think the forward-facing sonar can make the fishing worse in a way because they're getting so much pressure by like the ping of the transducer and everything like that.
I believe in that.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, you're seeing people talking about that in the ice fishing world where that deucer hits that school of crappies and you vividly see them.
Yep.
They move.
Yeah.
And there's no noise on top of them. They're over there by themselves. But the second you show them, you see them change direction.
And with
There's
how
something
lazy
to that.
muskies are, it's just, you don't want to risk that.
Yeah. Yeah, they are kind of lazy.
When they want to feed, they want to feed.
Yeah.
When they don't, they don't. And it's
Yeah.
just, man, it's,
Yeah. I wish I was like that. I just want to feed all the time.
Yeah, those steak bites were good.
Oh, I just want to eat.
I know. I didn't even get those. I was behind you in line last night.
That was the best thing on
the
that
walleye
menu.
fingers were good.
See, I didn't get any of
Not gonna lie.
those, but the steak
The
bites.
chicken tenders were also very good.
See, we're talking about food.
Okay, stop it.
Like, I just want to eat again.
It's almost lunchtime.
Muskie fishing's awesome. What's the biggest muskie you ever caught fishing?
53.
53. That's a beast. How about you, Jason?
I got a pair of 51.5s. He's got me beat.
What?
Man. Yeah, and you guys fish. I guess I didn't say. You guys fish in Wisconsin mostly, right?
Yep.
You know, now when I worked at Thorn, is there a stigma in Wisconsin that the muskies are just smaller? Is that really a thing?
Yeah.
The strain
Is there?
the strain is so
Okay.
So Fischer caught a really stout 49 this year.
Yeah.
And you know, talking with like John Holmgren last night, he's like, that's equal to a Minnesota 55.
Okay. Makes sense.
Because Minnesota has a lot of Leech Lake strain
And
muskies,
they grow
right?
faster.
Yeah.
What's the
because
strain in
Tullaby, is it the Tullaby thing?
Well,
or
no, it's just
you have a lot of river
the strain
fish.
grows faster, and a lot of times they're longer at a younger age.
It's just genetic.
So Fisher's 49 was tagged as a 41-incher by the Wisconsin DNR at 2017.
Okay.
And so they knew how old it was then. So the biologist told me it's 19 years old.
Gotcha.
Where a 19-year-old in Minnesota would probably be 55.
It's an old fish.
Yeah, that's unique. So what is the strain in Wisconsin?
Chippewa River strain or Wisconsin River strain. And then if you go to Green Bay, it's Great Lake strain.
And those are big.
And those are
those
big.
get
Very,
big.
very comparable to Leech Lake strain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we get to play around in Green Bay quite a bit too.
Yeah, we were over there like, 2-3 times this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that where Brett Alexander gets the freak shows that I see some?
Yep.
He
Yeah.
posts some pictures of some fish, and I know it's the Great Lakes because it's like, okay, there's desolate wasteland of water behind you. But some of those are just absolute blimps. I mean, I would think if the world record is to ever get broken, you think it has to come from a great...
from St. Lawrence River, didn't it?
Yeah.
St. Lawrence is still kicking
St.
like
Lawrence.
Bay up in that way
Yeah.
to Ottawa. They just got that little extra more. I mean, you're
Well,
going to get
there's
those
more room.
58, 59.
And there's
that are
less
really
there's
stout.
less muskies, so there's more food for them to get bigger.
So I know like the walleyes in the Great Lakes, like they've tagged fish in like Duluth and they've re-caught them in like Michigan.
Oh,
like
yeah.
The thing was Navigate, Superior, Huron, all that stuff. Do the muskies do that too?
They have
Really?
started to move. They've been muskies from Green Bay that have made it back to Duluth.
Yep.
No kidding. Can
Yeah.
you imagine that? Just a muskie zipping across Superior?
Oh, yeah.
my
Just
God.
living its best life. Oh,
Yeah,
look at
like-
that. I'm going to eat
And
that.
it's
I'm going to
like,
eat that.
they're a cold. Well, they only like warm. What is it like in the wintertime? It's all the same temp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go for a
True.
cruise.
Migrating.
Yeah, they don't get that turnover on those big bodies of water
No.
either. So
That's so
that
crazy.
that intrigues me. Like that stuff
It's
intrigues
amazing.
me.
Yeah.
I'm always curious. Like even panfish, like they can't. We always say like, they can't go far. They didn't go. Well, maybe.
Why can't they?
Yeah, maybe
can't
they
they?
swim across the entire lake and we have no idea, and we just happen to get on a different school of fish, thinking they're the same fish that just moved from here to there. But no, this group moved here, and another group moved. It always intrigues
We
me.
have a body of water back home that they tag the fish and they kind of have like a local sponsor or
Yeah.
whatever. Fish get caught like 15 miles away on this water
Really.
that they tag. So
muskies?
bluegills.
Bluegills?
They're moving that far.
Oh my God.
See, I would never have guessed that. I mean, that's the stuff that just goes.
I could see it with bluegills. You've seen like how fast the schools move. Like
Yeah.
when you're running around in a basin, you're just like, geez, these things move like 500 yards in like a half
Yeah.
hour. Well, they do that all day, and the next thing you know, they're a couple miles away. And I always think I bass fish a ton, and I'm like, a largemouth is probably, if I catch him on that dock and I release him, I think he's gonna probably go back to that dock
Yeah.
or a nearby one because he's a lazy largemouth. Like a smallmouth is more like a it's like a rabbit just running around crazy. Like I could see smallies doing crazy stuff and running for miles. But
Have you seen how sturgeon move?
oh yeah,
They're incredible.
I've caught plenty of tagged
They make
ones
big
that,
movements too,
Yeah.
from lakes to rivers and this.
There's one that
especially-
went from just north of Chippewa Falls, went down
Through
through
three
Chippewa
dams.
rivers, like 3 dams, into the Mississippi,
Wow, through the dam.
up, and then into the St. Croix River. It was caught.
By Hudson
Yeah.
in 1 year. So I had to
Yeah.
go through the.
I've seen back in college when I used to fish down by Mankato and stuff. Like we'd catch little saugers, and
Yeah.
I was like just curious because like they spawn down there, and I was like reading a study from the DNR, and like a lot of the saugers that they caught down in Cato were tagged up in St. Paul and Pool 2 beneath the Ford Dam. And I'm like, you're telling me this little sauger this big navigated the treacherous looking Minnesota River
Yep.
through all the timber and
and-
catfish and all the predators just to spawn down in here? Like, what?
Yeah,
How is that possible? It's
Why?
Fish are pretty crazy, so
yeah. But those bass are lazy.
Yeah.
They just go back to the dock and eat the next bluegill or piece of bread that someone throws out there. I know I fish a lot of bass. No, that's super intriguing. That stuff always has got me interested. How they can navigate. Someone even caught, I think in Wisconsin years ago, a bull shark in the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
Pepin, I saw it. It's
Yeah.
in Pepin.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
that one was caught. Now, you think that thing actually, I don't think it can navigate up. I mean, it could, but do you think it was
they
someone's
can,
pet?
man.
I've heard there's a few bull sharks
They've got
in
it like St. Louis and stuff, right?
in like Michigan,
Yeah,
in Lake Michigan.
yeah.
I
Man,
don't know.
that would trip me out too much. You catch a bull shark, I'd be like, I'm done.
They're the only shark that can live in freshwater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyways, we got off topic there.
Bull shark.
Back
We're
to
gonna go target bull sharks this
yeah.
winter.
Holy
Drew.
smokes!
Yeah.
Back to the ice fishing. So you guys were on the ice. I saw last week.
Yep.
How did it go?
Good morning.
Well-
Welcome to the 30th anniversary of the St. Paul Ice Fishing Show.
Told you we're at the show. We're not lying.
Speakers Jason
So we got out. We were fishing with a good buddy of ours, Jordan Blake, and he brought us out into one of his little ponds, and we
Yeah.
actually got to test out the new Predator tip-up.
Oh yeah.
I set that up and caught a couple nice little pike on it, but
Really?
that was about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. I haven't caught a fish on it yet.
Oh, it was nice.
I have not got a fish. Tried and Cascade, Idaho last year, but we didn't have any bite on it. But it's a pretty sweet little tip up.
And you use the automatic hook sending
Yep.
function? Was it cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I've
Actually-
never. I got in Minnesota, so I don't use it. But like,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. We got a place
Caleb
in
and I
Wisconsin.
actually were talking about, I think it's going to help fish.
Yeah,
And it's maybe in a couple years when Minnesota finally legalizes the
sounds like
automatic
it's trending that way.
What happens is you get where you don't have the automatic version, and if you don't keep your eyes on that tip up, you can swallow the hook.
All the time.
I mean, you turn your head.
Yeah. Treble hooks and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where this way it's popping quick, as everything we've caught or seen
Yeah.
caught on those. They always get them right in the corner of the mouth.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
I mean, my thought is like when that thing is automatically set. I mean, it's no different than if you're jigging and staring at your Vexar and the fish
Exactly.
bites and you whack them.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the same concept, and I'm with you, man. Like every time that flag goes up, and you haul, oh hey buddy, you're telling your clients, let's go get it. Well, let's open the door, jog over, get there. It's spinning, it stops spinning. Many times we've had the hook's down its throat.
Yeah.
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 I mean, that thing's just munched on that thing for the last 4 minutes. I mean, it's unique. I'm just excited. So we have as you guys know, we have a Lake Homa cabin in Wisconsin.
Yep.
And I already told Drew, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go sting some walleyes
Go
with that
whack 'em.
automatic hook set
Heck yeah.
predator tip. Well, I'm actually pretty pumped. So I'm glad to hear you guys got out and used it. That's been one of the better selling items on our website and at these shows.
Yeah.
So the two
very
guys that
intriguing.
designed it are here, and it's pretty cool to see that come to fruition. But you guys chase a lot of walleyes.
Yeah. I mean, sorry to backtrack.
No, you're fine.
But
That's what we do.
I was setting up a
Yes,
tip
we
up
get off topic when we
right
come
after
back.
I caught that fish on the predator. I was setting up a regular tip up. I put it down, dropped the depth bomb, put the minnow on, reeling up to my little bobber that's set at the depth. I was going to put it down and like putting the flag on. It started spinning out. A pike grabbed it while I was setting it down.
So you didn't even have it set yet.
No, I just set the hook. Boom, got him.
Yeah. Was it Jiggy's kid?
I did that.
Oh, you
It was
did
on
that, yeah.
3 years ago on Lake of the Woods. We were trying to get some underwater footage of fish eating, so I was dropping the camera down. And when you get underwater footage, like it's kind of a pain in the butt because you got to get the camera at the right
Yeah.
depth. Your bait has to be at the right depth, the right distance away. There's got to be light. So there's a lot of that goes into it. And I'm by myself. The sun's coming up. It's a gorgeous morning on Lake of the Woods. And I got the camera down. I'm recording. And I actually had a GoPro recording too to watch everything happen because I was going to get the flag tipping up, And
Yep.
I'm looking at the camera. I'm dropping we had smelt down there. So I'm dropping smelt down with my quick strike rig. And I'm trying to like get it in the angle. And then whoosh, big pike just T-bones it. And I'm like, oh my God, it took me a second to process this, because you wait all day for a bite. And I'm
Yep.
sitting here setting the thing up and boom, he smacks it. I set the hook and I'm like, I think Jordan Bradley, another Wisconsin guy, was out there. I'm like, Jordan, come over here and reel this thing up. It was like a 36-incher right away in the morning. And then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I got to jig these smelt. So then I sat there for a little while and we kept just jigging and all of a sudden, boom, got smacked again on the tip up. I'm like, dang, this is
And you're
this is
that was
awesome.
shallow water.
That was like 4 or 5
So
feet
these
of water.
fish clearly don't care that you're there.
No. I mean, you got to remember there's 3-4 feet of ice. It was in March. So they aren't sensing you really. They might see the light go through the hole, I guess, but that was intriguing. Then, midday when we weren't getting bite, we were using dead bait.
Yep.
We had some suckers, but we'd go around, start jigging the tip ups, kind of got them fired up a little bit, I think, at times, but I don't know.
There's a trick we do it because obviously
Yeah, we do this
tip
a
ups
lot.
are popular in Wisconsin because
Yeah.
we can do 3 lines.
Yeah.
So you just see
And
it
you
more
guys
often.
eat and drink beer on the ice all the time, and that's it.
Stay off the beer. But, yeah.
Cheese.
No, I don't like cheese.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's anti-cheese. I don't know. I don't know what state he grew
All
up in. But sometimes if you're out there and a guy's got a snowmobile or a wheeler, you actually go and drive by the tip-ups and come by.
Make some
drive
noise.
by and just like a drive, and all of a sudden you watch 3 or go up.
Interesting. I believe it. The pike do weird stuff. I learned a lot from that trip, and especially the underwater footage, because I would record for 4 hours in a row, right, on the same tip
Yeah.
up, and I'm like, God, that thing hasn't popped yet. Like, are we even around fish? Well, no, they were there. They just didn't want to eat. They'd come up and they'd be just nosing it, finning around. They're like, it's not time, Then we'd like Jordan would be like, oh, major starts in 5 minutes. Look around 5 minutes later, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
it's
flags
crazy.
popping. I'm like, they just didn't want to eat. And they were roaming in like wolf packs too. There'd be like 3 38-inchers, and it'd be like boom, boom, boom. We catch 3 38s. And then it'd be like an hour later during the minor or something, boom, 2 42s. It was just wild.
Yeah. And I mean that's a musky thing too.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
like I know that's a big deal. The moon phases and things like that. I mean, people plan their vacations off of moon phases for musky fishing, right?
Oh, yeah.
And absolutely, it's a thing. So
If
Yeah,
we get
new
one out of
moon.
moon, we just look at each other and go, it's a bonus.
yeah,
Full
Wait,
moon.
You're saying moon is good?
Yes.
Oh,
Moon
vacation
phase,
on
like a moon phase. Or
Vacation's
Yeah.
also good.
Yeah. You're not even
yeah,
you didn't work
vacation,
yet. You're
man.
like
You just
15.
we get weekends off and summers off already. Your whole life's a vacation. Trust me, it gets worse. So walleye fishing. I mean, I saw a bunch of nice pictures of walleyes last year. I guess before we go back, you made a comment earlier about when Fischer was a kid and he had the fish and he said, "Ish, ish." We got a fish together at ice shots, not too long ago.
Yep.
And you were laughing because you were whacking them, dude.
Oh yeah.
You were just crushing
Jack were
crappies,
whacking
and
'em.
you just kind of looked at me, shook your head. You're like, every day, dude. This is just how it is. I'm not gonna catch anything. He's just gonna keep catching them. He's just gonna keep catching them, and you're just whacking crappies, having the time of your life. And I love it because it's like, yeah. At that point, you look at it, life is pretty good.
I remember,
It's pretty good.
speaking of photo shoot stuff, last year at Gull Lake, because you guys wanted to come out to a blackfish photo shoot, and we're like, yeah, let's, bring them on out, let's go.
Yep.
So we meet up at Gull Lake, and a lot of our photo shoots, it's a lot of like our, big name pros. They bring their big wrapped boats,
Yep.
big bass boats, big walleye boats, and we're like, oh, cool, whatever, And then we're like, all right, we're gonna meet at the dock. The dock is like 2 miles away from the access, and you guys are like, yeah, we'll be there in a little bit. We're coming down. I'm looking across. I'm like, is that them? Just a little 14-foot flat-bottom John boat come buzzing across Gull Lake. I'm like, yeah, that's the Fishers. And then we're like, all right, this is a good little angle. So we went right into the pencil reeds. I'm like, this
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like they're doing shallow water stuff in the boat. This is sweet.
Well, you were on vacation, and you said, I don't have the big musky
my
boat.
I got a 20-foot toughie, and it was down at the time.
Yeah.
So like we had to just roll up towards Leech Lake, at my brother's cabin, and we're like we're gonna use the John boat and bring
Yeah.
it up there. And Fisher loves to just use it.
Oh, I fished in that too many times.
The
This summer.
99 Johnson
Yeah.
on
Yep.
the back. Yeah, I think it was sweet. You guys were like, well, we
How
can't
many-
go too far because we're going to run out of gas before we get back to the access.
How many 3-gallon gas tanks did you burn through this summer?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
That's
good
your
stuff.
baby, huh?
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
built a deck on it too,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah,
I
the
fit all my
casting deck.
bass gear under there.
Yeah. If that boat could talk,
Oh yeah.
it would say some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, I feel like if anyone has a less than 15 horsepower two-stroke, those boats could say some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I got one still.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the Gull Lake experiences, that was sure fun. Catch all kinds of fish. Yeah, so you guys are doing a lot of walleye things in the wintertime.
Yep.
What do you like to target the most?
I'd say walleyes and crappies.
Yeah. Yeah, you have good fishing by you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good crappies, good walleyes. You do
Yep.
YouTube stuff?
Yep.
I mean, we see you all over internet doing YouTube videos. You're going to get a bunch more videos coming
Yep.
out this winter?
Yep. First ice is gonna be our best time for filming because obviously you're catching the most amount of fish, and we can get the best walleye bites, tip-up bites, and I guess crappies gets better as you get towards late ice because they're out in the basin, but it's getting pretty good here as we start filming some more ice fishing videos.
You have certain snacks, pizza rolls, or
We have some pizza rolls
I
on
know.
the ice.
I watched the video. That's why
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm pretty sure I watched the video where you guys ate a bunch of pizza rolls
We
too.
put them on the
so-
heat.
Yeah.
We put them on.
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
I don't know if you can make weight in wrestling this
Yeah,
year.
so I'm
seeing
talking
pizza
about
rolls
food
up there.
again. Yeah,
Wrestling,
yeah, yeah. He wrestles too.
Oh yeah.
You're a little wrestler on the wrestle football.
I didn't play football this year.
You didn't take a year
No.
off. Well,
Yeah.
good for the kids you played against. They're probably happy you didn't play because I watched some videos your dad posted. You downright decleated some kids that probably quit football after that hit. I mean, I watched one video. You came across the near sideline. You hit the kid so hard. I'm sure. Yeah, he definitely quit.
Probably.
I'm certain he said, "I'm done." So wrestling's a big deal. Like,
Yep.
doesn't wrestling tap into your ice fishing?
I mean, it does, but like, you got to mix it up every once in a while.
Yeah. So what weight class do you wrestle at?
106 this year.
Okay,
Yep.
nice. Can you beat your dad?
Probably.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Shots
He's
fired.
quick.
We can do. We can take this out back too, and get some
we were
entertainment
joking.
going.
Dustin and Dalton Peterson, on our pro staff, helped us set up, and we were joking that we're going to make you two hop inside one of the X600s, and the first one out wins. And I still think we should consider that. That'd be some entertainment.
I wouldn't want to mess with the Petersons.
I feel like
they're just built. I'm like,
they're a tougher breed.
Yeah,
for sure. So when you're in Wisconsin doing the walleye thing, I've always been intrigued. Some of your fish you guys catch over there are so pretty. I think some of our metro fish here, run down, beaten, have seen everything. So how are you fishing for these? So when you're tip-up fishing, what are you using? Are you using plain hooks? Is it a shiner game, or what are you doing to catch these fish?
All we're using is a Gaff-X hook, and we actually like to mix up the colors. Mm-hmm. We use the
red rocks,
the red, and then
polychromatic,
chrome looking one,
the chameleon.
That one's really good, and we just hook a medium-sized shiner right in the back, drop it down in about
what
medium size is 3 inches.
Yeah.
What type of structure are you tip-up fishing, and how?
Break lines, like old where there used to be some weeds.
Okay, so stuff that you knew from the open water season. Gotcha. Like hard bottom,
sandbars, and they'll move right up on them. Sandbars that top out at 4 or 5 feet.
Really? That's one of the more intimidating things that I never get into, because it's God, how do you target a sandbar? I'm always thinking I'm going to find the secondary little rock spine that comes off the main point. That's the hot spot, but I see a giant flat or something, especially during ice. I'm just how do I even
If you can find where there's sand and weed on that transition line.
Yeah.
I mean, they run it like a highway.
Or if there's this little spot in that sand spot where there might be a couple of rocks, you better set a tip up right there, because the walleyes are going to be right over that.
How shallow is the shallowest you've gone?
I think
2 feet to catch a walleye over the ice? I don't think I've ever done that. I mean, I fully believe you, but I'm kind of with Drew. Most of my walleye fishing is probably deeper than 8 or 10 feet.
Yeah, usually we stagger our tip-ups from 2 to 8. We'll get the bites on 8 feet of water before dark, and then they'll move up shallower, and that's when we get them up shallow.
And then we actually start moving tip-ups even.
Yeah.
Just run them all shallow. And you run them, 20 feet apart down the bar.
Yeah.
And you're just watching flag. You can see what a whole pack of walleyes move up. Because all of a sudden,
are you mostly tip-up fishing when you walleye fish? Is that the best way to catch them?
6 tip-ups up at the same time.
Yeah, because Wisconsin you can use 3 lines. Mm-hmm. So are you not catching them on rod and reel? Is it more? Is it a noise thing?
I mean, we have last
shallow
year.
water.
It really is noise.
Shallow water, obviously.
You want to stand back and try to get 75 feet away from
eat some pizza rolls.
Yeah.
Sit back, and then all of a sudden, lights go up, and it's fun to watch the lights blinking.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times we see them coming in packs of sizes too, 23. Oh, that one's got a 23. Nope, 18.
Just like those pike were. On a couple of years ago down in Iowa, we were out there and doing very similar to what you guys are talking about. We were shallow, right at sunset. The guy's we're going to be fishing the shallow thing, and drill a hole. I'm it's 4 feet deep, He's like, yep, they're going to come up here. I'm like, really? This lake is mostly 30 feet deep. He goes, oh yeah, they'll come up here. And here we are in 4 feet. I'm like, this is a beach. I would be swimming here in the summertime. Are you serious? He goes, yep. Sure as heck, we were catching walleyes right when the sun was going down.
It's amazing how shallow they go.
Yeah. We have some spots that are some bays.
Yeah.
Actually, some back bays, and they'll actually cruise those back bays in 3 feet of water.
Interesting. I mean, I guess open water, when we're bass fishing, we'll be catching walleyes and stuff that you never think a walleye would be in. Gin clear water, 4 feet deep, running around, but they're chasing bait, when we caught them on chatterbaits and stuff. You're just why is this walleye? It's nothing like what you learned walleye fishing growing up. You're thinking weed lines, dragging a live bait rig around, right? And here they are, they're predator fish.
And so it doesn't matter about ice thickness? So you'll catch them in 3 feet of water even midwinter? 25 inches of ice?
They go a little bit deeper as it gets later in the season. We've sat and drove out to the spot, listened to the Packer game while we're watching tip-ups.
Packer game. Packer game. What's going on here?
That time of year, we got them set up in like 14 feet of water instead of 4.
Yeah.
But
What's the biggest walleye you pulled through the ice? You just caught it recently, last year? Did you?
I got a 26 last year.
Yeah. You got a big one last year, yeah.
Quality fish.
Yeah. That's enough. What's your biggest, Jason?
I got a 29 and a half off Lake of the Woods.
Take that.
He's got me
Fisher.
beat.
The
Take
woods
that.
one? Right in the basin? Wow, you lucky.
Yeah.
14 inch, 14 inch.
Yeah, I get to stare
Or I
at.
should
I
say
get to
11
stare at
inch,
that
12
mount
inch,
every
11
day.
inch, 12 inch,
Yeah.
29 and a half.
Sauger. Not a sauger.
Yeah. I've never caught a 30 incher. A lot of them have graced my boat, but on clients' lines, I've caught 229 and 3/4. I've never caught a
I've caught
230.
30s fishing muskies
Really?
on Mille Lacs, but I don't
Yes.
count them because they are eating
Yeah.
suics. And
I hear
14
about so many
inch
big walleyes getting caught
Oh,
musky
walleyes
fishing.
love
and
musky
like big
baits.
bass
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got like a 4.5 pounder the other day on a topwater bait that was about that long.
The other day?
Yeah.
They're still
Well, not
smacking
the other
top
day,
water?
but like
Say, where are we going?
a month ago.
I'll take my
Yeah.
boat out of storage quick,
Yeah.
you know, if there's still open water.
Are you going walleye fishing this week, you think?
Yeah,
How's the
probably.
ice? How's the ice look like?
We have about 4 inches right now.
Okay. Good ice. Good
Oh yeah.
safe ice.
Clear.
Okay, now where in Wisconsin are you roughly?
Chippewa Falls, Eau Claire.
Chippewa Falls, Eau Claire. Okay, so central western Wisconsin. Gotcha.
Yep.
Certain
Yeah.
waters are better. It depends on if it's a shallower body of water, we're going to get our ice better. So
Gotcha.
the deeper, clear lakes, we're staying off right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like us here. I mean, we got bodies of water here in the Twin Cities that are starting to freeze over. Some are locked up. We got others that are darn near wide open.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of how it
Yeah.
works.
I was actually in Wisconsin last weekend on the Shitek chain, having Thanksgiving over there, and that was totally locked up. And I was like,
Oh, was it?
I didn't go out. I didn't even bring any fishing stuff. I had no intentions of even trying it. But I got there and I was like, oh man, I should have brought an auger and a Vex and could have gone out there and tried at least.
I don't think there was a lot of ice then though.
That's a good system. We fish it a lot, actually.
I've only open water fished it, but I'm gonna dabble a little bit.
It gets really
I-
green in the summer.
Oh yeah, it's like phenomenal. It looks phenomenal for.
Actually, it's been
flipping and-
terrible for bass fishing this last year.
I got
Like for
small
tournaments?
ones, tiny ones.
Tournaments like 11 pounds one.
Yeah, I was on par.
When a couple years ago it was like 20 pounds is when it.
You have lakes where you can practice that.
Yes, yeah.
10, 11 pounds.
10 pounds, yeah. You're great at that, Matt.
Yeah, I'm dialed on that stuff. I mean, I know that you have added to your chatterbait collection
Yep.
over the last few years.
Oh, thanks, Jack.
Yeah. But when my kid loses one in a tree and it breaks off, and then Fisher finds it and puts it in his, because Jason will I think we found another one of Jack's lures on this tree.
Swim jigs.
Yeah, that's about right. He likes to break them off. Trust me, I know he likes to break them off because most of those are mine. It's like, how do you go out with 3 rods, walk down to the beach, come back with 3 rods and no lures on them? Well, I know how, because he hits all the trees. Then you know where you can
Yeah.
come and clean up and find some $17 chatterbaits
I
that are
call it
lightly
pushing
used.
the limit.
It is.
So, I mean,
I do it all the time.
I've watched him throw a Medusa, if you know what a Medusa
Oh,
is.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
Chaos tackle.
Three-tailed, yeah.
I've watched him on a river float throw it in the middle of a giant log jam, rip, and have to aerial it out and in. I'm like, what if you would have caught one in there? He goes, I don't know. I didn't pay for it.
No way.
Yes.
Yep.
Come on, man.
It was.
Yes.
It's just an
I
afterthought.
try to skip it underneath trees.
Medusa?
Yep.
Jeez, man.
I had an old fishing partner,
impressive.
Brian Rogers, phenomenal angler. And his MO always was this: get the lure to where you think there's a fish, and we'll worry about everything else later. You know, he used to skip.
That's the same
He used to
way I
skip
go.
lures over pontoon pylons, under this, under that, and he's like, whatever. If I break off, I have another lure. But he's like, I'm always going to try to get the lure exactly where I think it needs to be, and I'll worry about getting the fish back the second I hook
If
it.
you're not
And-
getting snagged, you're not catching fish.
He always, I would drive me, he'd roll up and he would bing, bang, bing, bang, bing. And I'm like, dude, there's a 6-inch opening. That's real. So, all right. And I've seen him like literally like suspend bass through different things
Oh,
to
yeah.
flip them. It's crazy.
It's just like drilling a hole where you think the fish are, even if it's in the middle of a laydown and you're using someone else's auger,
Yeah.
which happened.
You can bring Danny Vu over here. He'd,
I think we've talked about that a few times on the podcast,
yeah,
so
Drew.
don't let me use your auger.
Yeah.
if, that's a lesson.
Drew's going into the woods looking for crappies. And
Yep.
there probably were some in there.
Oh, I
We
guarantee.
just never found
We
out
were
because the
catching
auger
fish
broke.
like 10 yards from a laydown on the bank. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, there's got to be a fish under the tree still, right? I'm like, but we never got there because, again, I hit the tree. But anyways.
Danny never even got to use his brand new auger. The first time anyone used it was Drew, and he comes back, I owe you new blades.
I did.
Yes.
I ordered them before we even left the lake. But it goes to show you, back to the shallow fish thing, that day we were shocked at how shallow the crappies were. So fish do go shallow in the winter still, especially if there's green weeds.
So you chase basin cricket. We talked a little bit of walleyes, tip-ups, using gaff hooks. You put a weight above that at all?
Yeah.
Blade?
Yeah, a little weight.
You know, braided line, fluorocarbon leader?
So like 20-pound fluoro, and
Which is about 8-pound diameter mono.
Yeah.
What is it? 65-pound Dacron.
50.
As a main line, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta do the same thing. And shiners always?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every once
3,
in a
4
while,
inch shiners?
we'll mix like a little sucker in there too, but
Yeah.
Okay. Shiners seem to be king. For me
Yeah.
as well. I feel like that's the jam. Sometimes you have no choice. You have to go to supplements because their shiners are gone. But if I can pick shiners. Now, going to crappies.
yep.
You mentioned basins.
Yep.
That's how you prefer
That's
to
my
target them?
favorite thing.
Yeah. Chasing them with forward-facing sonar.
We don't
Have forward
you
facing,
have
yeah.
forward
You
facing
don't
sonar
mess with
yet?
it? So this is why you go with, you cut all the holes, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Like
So
he'll
my
sit
dad
down.
did that to me.
He'll check the one hole that we drill right away. I go and drill 50 holes, and I have to run around checking them. He'll be like, "They're over here." Comes, drills a hole next to me and catches them. But
That's what you do.
yeah, I
Yeah,
found them.
Teamwork makes the dream work. You know?
Basin
So
crappies.
how are you catching the crappies? And are you using spoons?
I like a little Gens jig
Yep.
with a little Mackie plastic on the back, and a lot of times you don't even need bait
Yeah.
because they're so fired up in the
Oh,
schools.
yeah. Absolutely.
All black crappies, I assume.
Yep.
Do you have many white crappies?
We have
where
a
you-
couple lakes that have some white crappies that I want to go fish this year.
Yeah, get one of them hybrids. Like
Mm-hmm.
all these big ones you're seeing caught, a lot of them nowadays, I feel like they're the hybrid species. And Minnesota doesn't even recognize that as a species. And
Really?
You know, I
Really?
think there's a good chance that some of the state records that you've seen in some of these states,
Oh, yeah.
They're all hybrids.
they're hybrids.
Wait,
you
so
know,
you guys have a lot of whites on the rivers over
Not
there?
as much as
many?
Not in the rivers. There's
Really?
I think I could count two lakes that have white crappies in them.
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And it sounds like you need to get on those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like basin fish, but it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
I mean-
you got to be, you got to consider how deep you're pulling them out of the
Yeah.
water too. Like if you're catching them out of deep water, well, catch your limit or whatever you want to eat, and then maybe go try shallow fish so you're not
Yeah.
tough on them, barotrauma and stuff.
I
But
saw that last thing that they kicked out, that
Yeah.
last video from
Angling Buzz.
Angling Buzz. Yeah,
Wonderful
that was
video.
very informative.
Wonderful video. Yeah, there's an Angling Buzz video out there that really hammers down on barotrauma. And I know they've been researching this for a couple of years.
Yeah.
They've done their due diligence. They've done all the testing with the DNR. They've put fish in cages, brought them up at different speeds, very controlled environment to really not have any kind of guesswork. They've done a wonderful job with
25 seemed to be the magic mark. If you can stay above, it was somewhat okay.
Yeah.
Below,
that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we were like the last time we were out musky fishing, we were getting sick of it. So we grabbed our ultralights with our Tikas, started
started snapping
hammering crappies.
Wow.
we were still dragging musky suckers, by the way.
Nice.
But we were hammering the crappies, and I think we got. I put the boat just a little bit too deep. You caught one, and it wouldn't swim. So
That was about 25.
Yeah, that was
I started
25.
bugging out.
Oh, really?
so then we pushed back up into like 22, and they were all fine.
Yeah.
I've got crappies at night because they move up shallow in some spots that I fish, and they come out of, I know they're in like 40 feet of water during the day roaming, and they come up to like, I don't know, 18 to 20 feet, which I'm like, 18 feet's not that deep, right?
Yep.
Well, heck, I catch them things and they ain't going back down. And I'm like, well, it's because they just came out of 40 feet of water. Might have swum straight to where they felt comfortable. They're hanging out. I catch them, and they still haven't quite, adjusted to that depth yet. So,
Yeah,
again,
it takes them a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember the study and hearing it, it's not instant.
No,
it takes
can't
them a
be.
long time to rebalance
Yeah.
all of that pressure. With the time it takes for us to reel them up, not nearly enough time.
No.
I mean, it's a very, very slow process for them to truly rebalance that pressure. So, and I always thought it was interesting, and I'm not a scientist, or to get off topic, like, well, they chase bait,
Yeah.
So that was one of the questions I asked. So like when that fish makes a, 15-foot chase to go chase
I've never thought about
minnows,
that.
how do they handle it, or don't they?
I don't know.
Do they only feed?
3 feet above their head or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I always wondered. Like, okay, well, if you pull them up 15, 20 feet and they have this problem, well, I mean, all the time that these crappies go all the way up under the ice and chase bait. I guess what's
Like
the difference?
I've
What's the
had them
difference?
chase up my jig where you're just.
Yeah, what's the difference? Like I've always, I always wonder, like, is there a mechanism within them from like a lactic acid side of things that when they're under stress and they're fighting and they're swimming, that their muscular body just can't sustain some of that, and that's what sometimes gives them the bends as well. I don't know. But kudos to Angling Edge. I mean, these guys are trying to find solutions, trying to find ways. Yeah. I mean, Jeremy Smith, those tie, it's like those guys are really trying to figure this stuff out, honestly, so all of us can be better informed anglers.
Yes.
Not have these fish die.
Yeah.
And I think it's the ice fishing crowd that puts the biggest hurt on them. Ice Shanty USA sits over the basin or over a deep hole, and they catch a whole bunch of 7-8 inchers. They don't want them. They chuck them back down. Well, it sounds like a vast majority of those fish, they don't survive.
Yeah.
No.
And that's, I mean,
I feel like the fish I've seen like on my Vexlar or camera, you can tell when a group of fish, like let's say I'm in 20 feet of water, and if I have fish from 4 feet off the bottom all the way to 4 feet from the top, I'm like, these fish are like, they're adjusted. They're all moving in a big pack in this general range. And like, I've caught them and I've seen them go all the way back down, no problem whatsoever. But like at certain points of the day when I see like fish coming in like 4 feet or 4 feet off the bottom and to the bottom, and I catch them, those are the ones that get all spooky or shaky and stuff on me. The eyes start bugging out. And I'm like, I think it's just a different group of fish. Again, I am not a biologist, but just a couple things that I've noticed when you're, reading your Vexlar and sitting on those crappie holes.
Fish back home.
Yeah.
20.
Yeah, we don't.
that's about me too.
We don't really get in deep in that.
The shallow ones, they are more juiced up though.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! Like
Catch shallow crappies, they do not like anything until they decide. I mean, they're mad. They just start sprinting.
It's like a different species when you catch them in the weeds. They pull drag.
See, I'm a big fan of shallow water crappies because they can be challenging, and you think you have a 15, and it's an 11.
Yeah.
I mean, they're mad because they never get the bends.
Eating 4 feet down to 10.
Yeah, that same thing. Like you catch them under the ice. They're even if it's a 10 incher, you're like, this is a big one. What? Where did you get this spunk from? Like, they don't get the bends. Like, you catch them in 20, 25 feet of water.
Set the hook and just
it's
wait
like
for them
hooks
to
and
float
hooks
up.
and then just kind of those real soft head shakes, pulses because they're starting to get all woozy on you.
Well,
crappies
you
are
run,
fun.
Matt, you run the UPL, and the biggest fish are always shallow. It
Always
seems like.
in the weeds.
Always. Rogue crappies that are just the biggest ones, shallow.
Yeah, I mean, we have some lakes. It depends on the lake. I mean, there's some bites where, your big one comes
have
out in
to
the
be
basin
shallow.
because that's just what it is. But yeah, I would say more often than not, it's under 10 feet where the biggest fish are always caught. Up in the weeds, even in the dead of winter, 28 inches ice, 8 inches of snow, and it's caught in 7 feet of water in a milfoil clump.
Didn't you say that one tournament Lanky was catching them like in the cattails?
He was in 18 inches of water in the cattails.
How unbelievable is that?
So it ended up being bluegills because it was a specific lake where no one was catching any bluegills. You have 60 people, 30 teams, multiple days of pre-fishing. They punched every nook and cranny in that whole lake, and they could not catch a gill that was worth a darn. And it was actually tournament day, I believe, where Sean finally said, I have my crappies. No one in the field is catching their gills. No one. And I don't think we can upsize our crappies. So we're just going to do anything we can do that no one's ever done. He went
outside the box.
Went up into the pencil reeds in inches of water and started cracking gills, and the whole fleet of teams slid into the. I first drove past him, and I remember going, "Oh, there's Lanky taking a leak over in the cattails." That's just my assumption. Oh, Lanky's taking a leak in the cattails. No, he's about to catch a check in the tournament.
Yeah.
Well, then other teams caught on. They're like, "Well, you could see him catching fish," and all these teams are like, "None of us have bluegills." That has to be what he's doing. And he said within 10 minutes, a dozen of the teams were all up in the cattails by him catching bluegills, and they ended up getting like third. And he's like, we should have won it.
Yeah.
No one else knew about this. But it's a tournament, and everyone's like, okay.
Yeah.
I can see what's going on here. And he says
Yeah.
they ended up getting third because a bunch of teams moved in on them. And, but yeah, he said 18 inches of water. Dead of winter, February ice fishing tournament. Dead of winter, 18 inches of water in the cattails.
There had to have been, what,
Bugs.
a foot of water?
Yeah, I'm guessing bugs or something are in there.
They're probably warmer.
Could be.
The cattail roots probably
Yeah.
warmer, maybe.
Yeah.
Kicking
But
out oxygen. Of
That
some
was
sort.
I don't know.
that was astounding. I was actually like, I never see. I mean, we fished in the cattails in 3, 4, 5 feet of water. You get the
Yeah.
pencil reeds, like that's different. But like, he was up in a spot where I would. I mean, unless I was frogging
You'd be
for a
duck
while.
hunting up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's your knees, and there you are, dead of winter, bluegills.
So we've covered shallow water pike, walleyes, crappies, now bluegills. What else can we catch
Yeah,
shallow?
yeah. I mean, do you guys perch fish? Do you have any good perch
We
fishing
do,
value?
but a lot of times we'll catch them on tip-ups.
Yeah, nice ones.
Yeah, 12
Yeah.
inches.
I wish we had
Oh,
better
nice.
perch fishing by us.
Tough in Minnesota.
We have nothing here in central. I mean, we're not even north central Minnesota. We're Twin Cities. I mean, there's a handful of lakes you get on them, and good ones are like 10 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't have. I wish we did. I love perch fishing, man.
Northern Minnesota has some opportunities.
Yeah, it's getting tougher though.
See a lot of cool stuff from Cass Lake and Leech. Like you got to weed through small ones to get good eaters, but you can do it.
I remember being on Bemidji. God, this had to be like 91. And I was out on a hump, and my wife and I are out there. We're hammering a big perch.
Back in the
Just-
90s.
Yeah. Hammering a big perch. And the game warden comes up and he's, opens my cooler. I said, "You want to count them? They're all right." And he's like, "I don't need to count them. I just need you to do me one favor. Don't tell anyone you got them on a Bemidji."
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with the traffic. So
Yeah.
tell them you were on Winnie.
yeah.
Oh my God.
And some game wardens, they're kicking butt, taking names, doing their gig. They fish as much as we do.
Oh, yeah.
I've had many game wardens come up asking about what you're catching. Yeah, they're doing their job, but they're also putting it in their little memory bank because they're probably fishing sometime in the next 2 or 3 days. And I've run into many game wardens on the bodies of water I fish that you see come out to some of the spots and go fishing and stuff like that. I mean, they don't want to fish just like the rest of us.
Lunch break.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen it many times where, "Hi, what are you catching? What are you and then what are you catching them on? Why do you need to know that? Why do you know? No. Here's the 6 crappies I got in the box, but you don't need to know what I'm catching them on. No, it's all in good
You did a
fun.
good job. If you want to learn more about the game warden stuff, we actually did an episode last year. Jason Durham did with I forgot his name.
Oh, I thought you were going
but-
to say about our live feed when the game warden came in and checked license.
Oh yeah, we did that too on Ice Team Live last year. We were catching crappies in the hub house, and we get a knock on the door, and we're like, "Who the heck is coming out here?" It's like 8:30 at night. Game warden came out, checked our crappies, our licenses, and everything. It's
I
pretty
love
cool.
it when I see game warden. I love
Yeah.
it when they're out moving
Yeah.
around.
Oh, absolutely.
Desolate lake in the middle of central Minnesota. No one on it. 8:30 at night on a Wednesday, and we get someone to pull up while we're live on Ice Team Facebook.
Yeah.
What are the chances
Yeah.
of that?
Oh, can I check license? And of course, in good
Yep.
faith, we're like, yeah, hey, everybody on live, we got the game warden with us. Like,
We're actually live right now on Ice
Yeah.
Team Facebook. He's like, "What?"
yeah, and he didn't
Like,
skip
no,
a
we're not
beat. He
messing
was
with you.
straight up like, don't care.
Yep.
And we were. I mean, we weren't filming. We were live on Facebook. And checks all our license. Him and Joe Anderson are having small talk in the background, whatever. And he's like, see you later. And we're just like, we all kind of got a laugh. We're like, that was legit.
We
that
are
was not
live.
staged. You never know what's going to happen when you're on the ice.
Yeah.
But no, you were saying about Durham's podcast.
Yeah, Durham did a podcast with the local game warden from Nevis area because he went
Yep.
to school at Durham or something like that. It's a pretty good listen,
I
you know.
watched it.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
one. It's really cool.
Yeah, you learn a bunch of stuff. I mean, and Scott McIntoon on our pro stuff. Man,
yeah.
those guys are always on top of things. I mean, they're learning something new
Oh, if
every
you-
week,
Yeah,
everything.
If you think you're like, oh, we know the muskies are coming up in this lake or something, or it's a good age class, they've known that for
Yeah.
5-10 years in front of you. You know, like they know of like, oh, I caught a muskie in a lake that there's not supposed to be muskies. They know all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think at least.
Yeah. Have you caught a muskie in a lake that shouldn't have a muskie in it?
I think so, actually. I've probably been,
Yeah. I heard of we had a big one follow. So years ago on Lake Tatanka in southern Minnesota, used to be hold the largest bass in Minnesota for years.
Yeah.
We were down there pre-fishing for a tournament years ago. And it's a weird lake. It sets up like a reservoir, deep weed line, like 16, 18 feet, and then just drops to nothing, and it's just flat, right? And we're on the weed edge, and we're just trolling. It's the final day of pre-fishing, just looking for any abnormalities at this point, anything different. And about a 10-pound carp comes shooting out of the weeds. And we're out in 17, 18 feet. I mean, he comes just flying out of the weeds at us. Well, right behind us, about a 50-inch ski, just slowly chasing him.
Yeah.
Well, then the carp turns around and starts tailing the muskie. And all I could think of was the carp's like, as long as I stay right here, this dude ain't gonna eat. It was tailing like out of a movie, like
It's
a
like
shark,
what
like a
penguins
small
do that,
fish
I
by a
think.
shark.
Yeah.
It was just swimming behind this muskie. My buddy Brian and I were like, this carp don't want to get eaten. He's staying behind. He's more maneuverable than that muskie.
Yeah.
And then they go back into the weeds, and I remember going to myself, I'm like, and this was a 35+ pound fish.
Yeah.
This was a big fish, and I'm like, there's muskies in Tatonka? And I remember just going like, I've never heard of that. And I asked the locals, and they're like, no, not a chance. So I posted it on a fishing forum, fishingminnesota.com, way back in the day, and a handful of guys chimed in like, yeah, there's a few,
Got out of the water reel hatchery.
is what they said. There's a few in there. And was it huge? I'm like, oh yeah, they're all giants. And I thought that was so intriguing. Like, you know, and these guys are like, yeah, a few. We see them every once in a while. We never catch them, but there's a few in there. And I'm like, man. And I saw that one super tanker, and that stuff just intrigues me. You know, where somehow these muskies are in there and they survive and they don't get caught. They don't see the light of day. It's like when you hear about them like 15-pound walleyes caught on Lake Minnetonka or
Yeah.
floating dead. It's like, how does a 15-pound walleye on the most popular lake in the Midwest, inland lake, never see the light of day
Doesn't
and
make
just
sense.
die?
Shallow.
That's
No,
what
probably
that
not.
stuff just
Up in the pencil reeds.
yeah.
They're
That stuff
in the
lanky. And
cattails.
it's lanky to run in and go take a leak in the cattails to see if you can find a walleye.
All right, I have a question for you guys.
Yeah, sure. Here we go. I like this.
Swing away.
Do you guys fly fish at all?
I'm a danger to myself and anyone around me. Not a chance.
I bought a fly rod, I don't know, like 8 years ago in the springtime because
Yeah.
I was doing the traditional slip bobber or clip-on bobber, rocket bobber even with a little jig and catching crappies and bluegills, which was awesome. But I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to catch these things different.
So
So then I got a fly rod, and then I got like some woolly buggers,
Yep.
and I'd be casting those things shallow. And I think I caught them better on the fly rod because
That's the thing.
I'm not splashing a bobber up there and spooking them when they're spooking gin clear
Especially
water.
for pressure.
Yeah, and I'm just like floating this woolly bugger through like a pink woolly bugger, and they were just crushing it. And it's fun to catch them on a fly rod.
I mean, this spring, we got out and we followed. There were some boats that were fishing these brush piles with corks.
Yep.
We followed behind. I pulled out the fly rod. Boom, cast it in there. 13-inch crappie, 14-inch. We limited out.
On a streamer type fly or a top?
Just a kind of like a little willy bugger kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I think
And they couldn't believe us.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just sitting there going, "What are you guys doing?" And we're just every cast we're laying down, that floating line just hopping, and you just boom,
I love
popping
that.
them.
Yeah.
Four
I'm
four-way
envious
rods
of
is
guys
fun.
that can fly fish.
Bluegills too. Like we went behind people bluegill fishing brush piles, and we've caught some really dandy
I think you've been
bluegills.
you've been fly fishing for probably 7 years now, and it's one of the most enjoyable thing. We don't buy any bait. We don't do anything. We just bring our fly rods to the lake and just hammer it.
Do you fly fish for muskies?
I actually just got a fly rod this year.
Like a
from
10 weight?
Yeah.
Yep, from a good buddy of ours, and trying to get into it. It's kind of
It's a
expensive to get all this
whole
stuff.
different talk.
Yeah.
When you're talking fly rod. Hey, because you can't set the hook.
Yeah.
You can't set the hook where you're actually traditionally
You gotta
loading the
strip.
rod like you look on a trout or a bluegill. You have to pull the line like 3 times
Yeah.
to set the hook, and so to get your body to think differently,
It's weird.
Yeah.
you know.
I know the guys at Thorn in the Fly Angler, we had a big clientele of anglers that came in there specifically for fly fishing for
Yep.
muskie.
Yep.
And it was very intriguing because, they'd buy the 10 weights. They'd get the custom reels that were bigger, the right lines, the toothy critter, tieable wire leader material. They'd tie all their own flies.
$500, $600, and they made a cast.
dude. Easy.
Yeah. And the
Easy.
flies are like
What?
$60.
And then you got to land them because most of these guys
Yeah.
that fly fish have small landing nets, and I'm always like, and they're like, no, we take larger bassy size walleye nets, and they cut the handles down. A lot of times they were modifying their own nets. This was years ago.
Yeah.
Now there might be nets available, but they were modifying their own nets with short handles so that they could land muskies even. But then the guys that are really good are like, you just hand land them. You cradle them.
I've done that a couple times.
Yeah, I'm like, Every time I get a muskie by the boat after I fight it for a while, hand landing them always seems like I've had to do it. Not a good idea.
Oh, I did it this spring with a flicker shad in a muskie's mouth.
Ooh,
that was
scary.
dangerous.
So
Yeah.
when I bought that fly rod, I was like 19, and I didn't know anything about fly fishing other than I wanted to try it, right? So I got this an Orvis fly combo or whatever. I had my little tippet deal, and I'm like, well, I need a fly. I'm like, I don't know how this works. And I was at the cabin, like there's no stores nearby. I'm like, you know what I did? I went to the dollar store, and I bought some like tinsel and like the little twist tie fuzzy things, and I'm like, all right, now I need some hooks. Going to my tackle. I'm like 19. Like I just
Arts
wish
and crafts time.
tried.
yeah,
at the
I'm literally
Aspenwall
doing
House.
arts and crafts at the cabin, and I'm like sitting here tying this stupid thing. I'm like, that doesn't look bad. Went out there and we caught fish on it, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
sweet, you know. So then I'm like, but it kept falling apart and sliding down. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go to the fly store, and I saw the one like a woolly bugger. I'm like, oh my god, this thing is way better than my little contraption I made up in the back room of the cabin.
Like Jack tying his jigs on,
Oh, yeah.
on TikTok Live.
He
Yeah.
loves tying jigs, and they're good. Like when he
Yeah.
first started making them, he's like, "Dad, use my jigs." I looked at him, I'm like, "Oh crap, these are hideous." Now is the only jig I use.
Yep.
The only hair jig I use is the ones he ties, and I'll find him different jig heads and stuff. I'll tie him on drop TG, 30-second outs jigs, whatever. I'll tie him on VMC, whatever, and he's wicked at tying jigs now,
Yeah.
and no bait.
Yep.
You know, and it's fun. Like I've never really made a lure, I think, that I've gone out and caught fish on. You know, but it's cool to hear that some people do that.
I've made
I think that's
bucktails
so cool.
that I've caught fish on,
Yeah.
muskies.
I've used other people's lures that they obviously my kids have, but I've never built a lure, gone out and caught fish on it. We had a wood duck in college. Ugliest looking wood duck you've ever seen in your life. Just this little chunk of thing. We put some hooks on it, and we had a little pact, a group of us that we took turns having it every week, and every week you must throw it your first 5 casts if it's your turn for that week.
Yeah.
Every time you fish, your first 5 casts has to be on this stupid wood duck. Never caught anything, but one of my buddies smoked a fish on this wood duck. I mean, it wasn't a lure. It was just this stupid little wood duck, and we're like, oh, that could be a cool fishing lure. We put a couple hooks on it. No, I never caught it, but someone caught one on it. Just this
That's
ugly
sweet.
little wood duck.
We made decoys in high school with Getch. Yeah, we
Yeah.
like carved out decoys in wood shop and poured lead in them and everything. That was
I got to
pretty
do
sweet.
that in my class like a couple weeks from now, actually.
You do really?
Yeah.
A
Yeah, it's
decoy?
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
you'll
cool.
enjoy that. Do you guys spear pike at all?
We,
Never doing
we
that
can't.
stuff?
No.
Oh, they don't do that.
We can't spear in Wisconsin. Yeah, a lot of things you can do in Wisconsin, but we can't spear.
Interesting.
Minnesota, you can.
Yeah. I've never speared. We can do it here, and I've never done it.
Yeah.
I mean, it does kind of intrigue me. I don't think I would spear any kind of trophy level fish,
No.
but I would love to go stab a 4-pound pike, just to say I did it.
Yeah, there's a
I
lot of
know
people that
it's not.
spear.
It's kind of a lost art. I think it's you usually hear about it in the same sentence as oh, my grandpa used to spear.
Yeah.
My
Right?
cousin does it a
Yeah,
lot.
that seems to be.
Yep.
You know, I feel like it's one of those styles of fishing, if that's the right
Yeah.
word, that's passed down. It's not
100%.
something I think our new generation just goes out and takes on. It's something to where grandpa or dad taught me to
We
spear.
still have the dark house version of the
The stealth.
stealth. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean,
Yeah.
some retailers might have it.
I
You
think
know-
we just sold out of them actually.
Yeah, I think we're done making that one.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a coalition of people that spear still. There's
Oh, yeah.
clubs that I know for a fact it's still. I mean, go on the lakes in Minnesota. It's evident. There's spear shacks everywhere. It's definitely not going away.
Yeah.
You can clearly see all the 3 foot by 6 foot hard-sided, no window shacks in 3 to 7 feet of water on almost every metro lake.
Yep.
So I know it's still definitely a thing.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. So what are your guys' plans for this winter? You got any trips planned? You got anything going?
I know. I'm pretty sure we're gonna go down to Mississippi
Okay.
with you
Yeah,
and Sobe and
Yeah.
Gage.
gonna go fish
We'll catch some
perch.
big perch. Yep.
I want to in the airboat.
Yep. That's probably gonna be the most fun thing we're gonna do this winter.
Yeah, that sounds boring. That sounds
Maybe a
boring.
little Lake of the Woods trip, maybe.
Do you? When are you going to Lake of the
Yeah.
Woods?
Probably late.
Yeah. It said
Late ice.
March.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go up in
catch some
December,
pike.
end of
Oh,
December.
You're
Yeah,
gonna do the pike thing?
Yeah.
Ooh, jealous.
yeah, they're mean and big. That sounds fun. Otherwise, you'll be fishing around home.
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
Okay.
Wrestling season, unfortunately, with Saturdays eating up a lot
It
of
ends
times.
earlier this year, though.
And you're 3-0 already on your
Oh, yeah.
season. How many
Yeah.
more matches do you have? How many?
You could get up 50 some matches this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your record going to be at the end of the season?
I'll say 50,
50-0.
Well, you heard it right here, folks.
Your dad's laughing out loud, literally. All right, 50-0.
I'll take him down, too.
Yeah. So who? Okay, time out. Who's a better fisherman?
That's me.
Jason. What?
That's me.
Huh?
He's good. I hate
Wow.
to say it. He's really good.
Let's
Yeah.
get to the nitty gritty here, huh?
Yeah, I like it. So if people want to watch your YouTube channel, where are they going?
Smith's Fishing Outdoors.
Smith's Fishing Outdoors. You got a ton of stuff on there.
Yep,
I saw a
muskies.
pile of musky stuff this fall. You're going to be doing a bunch more ice fishing stuff.
Yep, we got a couple ice videos up already.
Usually about 42 musky videos a year, and
Yeah.
then about 20 ice fishing videos a year.
Yep.
Yep.
And we'll
lot
mix in a
of
few bass
learning
and crappie
stuff.
but
You can learn a ton of stuff on your videos
Yeah,
too.
we'll do like tackle talks in the garage and stuff and talk about baits and
Yep. Yep. So people should check out Smith's Fishing Outdoors.
Yep.
Check that out. Subscribe to that if you haven't already. Get some information there. Pester one of these guys at a show or event. And if they see you on the ice, they come up, say hi,
Oh yeah.
show them how to catch.
yeah,
maybe
it's fun to meet.
maybe get a pizza
fans
roll.
who, you
Maybe
know,
get a pizza roll.
Maybe.
There's a good chance there's a pizza
Maybe.
roll being cooked inside the fish house.
If they're warm.
Yeah,
Someone
if
just tackle Fisher and put him in a headlock and pin him.
I dare.
please.
Yeah. See how tough he is.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna hate it, but it'll end pretty quick. So, any parting words, guys? Anything else going on? Anything you want to talk about? What's one of your goals this winter? Maybe then, like, what are?
For fishing,
Yeah, what do you got going?
get a 14-inch perch
14-inch perch.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
and maybe break my walleye PB.
So 26 is your
Yeah.
PB now. Okay.
I think you can do that.
Yeah. And your goal just to catch more than Fisher once, or?
Once. I actually caught more muskies than he did this year.
Yes.
He went to
the
Lake
truth
St.
comes
Clair.
out.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I got.
Yeah. You caught some
Yeah,
big.
it don't
You,
matter.
you
That's
won a
cool.
muskie tournament this summer.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. How
caught
many?
7
I would
fish
say
in
you
one
caught
tournament.
7 muskies in one tournament.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Fisher caught the first one in the tournament, and it was a Muskies Inc. tournament, so you're competing against each other.
Yeah.
Same boat
And
though.
7
he caught the
muskies.
first one, and I'm like, cool, we're on the board. And then I caught one, and I caught another one, and I was up to 4, and he turned to me and says, get up front. This is your tournament to lose.
Good for you, man. I know you texted me after it happened. You were pretty proud, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's a pretty cool deal. I mean, you've accomplished a lot in the muskie world, and winning tournaments still is awesome.
Yeah, 250 some anglers. It's fun when you can win one. Yeah.
Dude. Well, guys,
Awesome.
thank you so much for coming out.
Yep.
These guys are going hard at it, so I really appreciate you taking a break in the action.
I think it's lunchtime.
It's busy here.
It's
right
time
now.
to enjoy the show.
I mean, is it not busy?
It is packed.
I mean,
am
it is
shocked.
packed.
I'm shocked
right
that
now.
we didn't get the camera knocked over at some
Yeah.
point, but shout out to Hunter Lanky for
Yeah.
guarding that sucker for like
Yeah,
a half hour or
he was
so.
there for
I mean, it
Yeah, he
is
was there.
legit busy right now. Busier than it's been, period, this entire show. So I guess it's time to go back to work, guys.
Heck yeah.
Thank you
All
so
right.
Appreciate
much.
you having us on.
You got-
Episode
you
31 is in the books.
There you go. Another episode of the Ice Team Podcast. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.